And here we are with George Mouzakitis. Yep, is that it? I think that's it.
Perfect.
That's
10
it.
out of 10. 10 out of 10.
We've got Mr. Worldwide. We'd love to see it. How you doing, my friend? How you holding up?
It's international.
This is it. Can you hear me right?
Yeah, all good. All good.
So it's cut a nice and early. Great start. But yeah, how you getting on at the minute?
Yeah, all good, man. I've been training through lockdown. It's a bit frustrating. Like this whole year's been a bit long, but yeah, I've been training. I haven't been posting a lot on social media. I've been keeping it all to myself and just moving on. Like we're all on the same boat at the end of the day, so I can't really do anything but train. So that's it. I'm waiting.
I mean, this is kind of it as well. I mean, outside of the usual people ducking you anyway, like you've had a bit of time off between your fights anyway, because again, trying to get matchups, trying to step up the ladder and this, that, and the other. Like, how do you deal with this level of like inactivity at this point then? Because obviously you used to like peaking for fights and then, deloading that kind of stuff. Are you just trying to tick on, trying to try new stuff? What's your way of keeping things, I don't know, fresh, I want to say?
Yeah, well, the good thing is with me that I've had a lot of breaks in my career. So, because I'm Greek, half Greek, I had to do my national service. So that's obviously going to the army there and being in the army for 9 months. So that was like a first, not bump, but just the first lesson of being patient and stuff like that. And then obviously after Thailand, I broke my hand in a fight over there. So I had 6 months off. So through this process, I've learned to be patient. So all this lockdown hasn't really affected me. It's probably a blessing really, because I've made a lot of changes through this lockdown and made wise decisions for my future. So it's not been too bad.
There's a lot in that to sort of like play with there. So where we start with, so go with the national service then. So where were you in your career at that point before that? Was it like, okay, I've got this next fight, then after those I'm off? Or is it a case of, okay, quite abruptly, just at some point? Like how planned out was that versus where you were at?
So it wasn't planned out at all. So basically, I was having like probably one of the best years in my Thai boxing career. I beat Nico Carrillo, Spencer Brown. I won the WBC national title at 63. And then I think they offered me this fight. Yeah, I was like in Greece for summertime, obviously having holidays. And they offered me this WBC international fight. And then like a few days literally after that, I got a call saying, you've got to go and do your national service. So I'm like, oh, like, what do I do here? Like I'm a bit stuck and stuff. But, it was one of those, man. It was a bit frustrating, but like I said, it was a lesson.
So how did you like accept that sort of time off then? Because again, you've got this momentum, you've got these titles, and then having this time away from it
Yeah.
again, because it's very much you've identified yourself at this point. Okay, I'm getting this title as I'm a champion. This is my world. Then a completely different
Yeah.
world in itself. Again, also full of people. Because again, the nature of solo sport, so to speak. Again, you're the one and yourself in the ring. Like then going to a team
Yeah.
environment. Because again, it's okay. You were sort of brushing past it. Like, what was that service like for you in that sense? Like the actual process of trying to go in this group. And again, were you quite reluctant? Did you accept it at the time? What was that like for you?
At start, it was really hard. I'm not gonna lie. At start, I didn't want to go, but it was a priority. I spoke to my Greek family, spoke to my dad. I spoke to everyone, and they just said, you've got to do it. You've just got to go with it. And I start. To be fair, man, like, I did really struggle at start when I went there, but as the months went on, I was just thinking, you know what? Like, when are you ever going to be in the army again? Because I'm not really, an army type of guy. So I'm just like, let's just go with this experience, see how it goes. And, from that, I probably matured more, started appreciating more things. So I just went with it towards the end. But yeah, at start it was hard, but it's a priority, unfortunately. It's the downfall of being Greek.
So when you came back then, was it back in as you left off as such? Was it a bit of time in between? Did you have any thoughts in the time of doing that service? You thought, okay, maybe the break's what I needed. Maybe this is something I could do more time in the services at that point. What was your sort of, I don't know, transitioning point coming back into civvy life?
It did make me more hungry for the sport. Obviously, like I said, that year, 2017, was probably, my first best years in Thai boxing. Obviously, I had good years before that, but I was really going well. I was getting good wins. And I don't know, fight camp after fight camp, sometimes it gets tiring, if you get what I mean, because, you know,
Mm.
you'll fight yourself. And sometimes, you know, to love the sport, you've got to hate it sometimes. And, you know, that's how it sort of was. So after that, it was probably a blessing because I was training more. I fell in love with it again, basically.
I mean, that's so important because again, the
Yeah.
monotony, you sort of have to embrace the grind, so to speak, of, you know, the chicken and veg and fucking crack on with that, cut the weight, and, you know, just sparring it, beating up and go home and cry and crack on.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think, do you know what?
It's
Maybe
just the
let,
same
yeah.
it's just the same all the time, man. And then, like, you know, you forget, like, oh, why am I doing this and stuff like that. It's just like you get a lot of different thoughts, but, you know, like I said, it was a blessing overall.
And regards to like your family and everything else, because obviously your dad's your coach, is he still quite proactive in your career as such? Is he more just sort of helps you every now and then, more guidance? How involved is he with your training, like directly?
Um, so I've got two coaches. It's Scott Robinson in
Mm.
Northampton, and I've got my dad. Um, yeah, I think, yeah, my dad will always be my coach, if you get what I mean. So he'll train me in the morning. If I'm in the fight camp, he'll train me in the mornings. He'll wake me up. He'll make me make the right decisions and stuff like that. So yeah, he will always be my first coach, and then obviously Scott Robinson's like a second dad to me. So he'll help me out and make the right decisions too. So yeah, yeah, he is mainly my first coach.
So more in the sense of asking that question is more the sort of, again, you're saying there you had the sort of burnout as such and you have a time off and you come back. How was he regards of insisting you to come
Mm.
back and get stuck in? Was he more seeing where you went with it, or did he push you to do anything and try to get you back in the motion sort of thing? Where does he sort of play in that sort of transition sort of role?
So what do you mean after the army?
Yeah, yeah. Did he encourage you to come back straight away? Did he let you make your own sort of decision at that point? What was his sort of, I don't know, involvement at that
He
point?
obviously did. Obviously, he didn't pressure me, but like obviously, I was hungry at that time after the army. I really wanted to get back in training camp myself. No one else was pushing me. It was just me being off for so many months and wanting to come back straight away. So he supported me in the way that, you know, getting back into it slowly and not having stupid fights straight away, and doing the right training and stuff like that. Give me the right motivation, because he's not, obviously he's my coach in the gym, but outside the gym he's a mate and he's a dad. You know, he motivates me in different ways, trying to make me a better person. So it's not only in the gym, but it's outside the gym that he helps me a lot. So yeah, after the army, he did he did help me a lot. He did motivate me, but he didn't push me. It was just all from me.
There's always that kind of like grey area, isn't there? Sort of, okay, you want to be there when they want it to really fucking go for it. But again, appreciating that kind of burnout. And again, is your dad as well. You see him all the time. It's having that divide. It's good being able to have that sort of split there. Like times
Yeah,
like come to Christmas and stuff, like was it a case of, I know you can't have the extra fucking Yorkshires, you've got to crack out, got some sprints to do. Like what was that sort of like
yeah,
divide like outside of like the home life? As soon as you're in the door, like no more talk about training, none of this. It's just life. How
yeah.
would you have that split as such?
It's to be fair, I'm always the one talking about training, like even in the house. But he is really good of like finding that balance, like talking about different things, because it's like what we said earlier. If you're always on it, like always talking about this sport and stuff like that, you know, eventually it does get tiring. So he is really good with that balance. So once we're in the house, you know, we talk about other stuff, and yeah, we watch fights and stuff like that, obviously, but it won't be too much, if you get what I mean. Obviously, we
Mm.
both love the sport a lot, but you really need to find that balance. So yeah, he's really good in finding that balance, even more than me. So
I
it's
mean,
a blessing.
that's so important in that sense as well. And like again, I like how you have the distinction between both Scott and your dad as well. That sort of you know where they sit regards to your not a hierarchy as such, but again, okay, this is where I've got my certain training this side. This is where things need to get picked up. Again, understanding different areas of your training. Now, when it
Yeah.
comes to like fight camps going forward now, like post
Mm.
lockdown or ideal situation, how would you like to sort of schedule your things? Is it a case of like block sessions of okay, these are my sparring days, these are my pad days, this is cardio, this is just general business as usual? Do you do much for a fight specific camp as such?
Mm. The good thing about having Scott and my dad is like it's sort of like my team at the same time. So I've got these two, obviously both of them focusing on me, and like they make the decisions, but I could do the same. So like I choose what to do and stuff like that. Obviously, if it's wrong, they correct me and they'll be like, oh no, you should be doing that, and I'll be like, all right, fair play. But yeah, like they, it's like they're both focused on me, and I can make my own my own program and stuff like that, and then obviously they work around it and I work around it at the same time. So the communication in the fight camps is good, and yeah, like I said, at the same time I plan it and they plan it, so it just works out perfectly.
So the question was more around, do you have a fight camp, so to speak, or is it more just your usual sort of training, but then you have a fight, then you get your sprints and that kind of thing? Do you see what I mean? So like, opposed to, say you have a fight booked or you don't, is your training
Yeah.
much different in that sense?
No, I'm pretty much fit all year round. So obviously we plan a program, but yeah, I'm training all year round really. This is what I do now. So I've committed everything to this. Like I work at the gym, I teach. Yeah, so I get the opportunity to train every day.
Yeah, it's a mystery how you burn out, isn't it? Doing full time, like everything's Muay Thai.
Yeah. You've got to find that balance, man. 100%.
This is it. And like when it comes to obviously the variety in that sense, and obviously your planning, is you because of the nature of obviously developing skill sets and building on certain things, it's a lot of repetition. Do you like to mix things up and try new things as such, or is it a case of okay, what I'm doing now, I need to make it basically so airtight against other situations? So it's a tricky question to ask, but the sense of, do you like to practice what you're really good at and try and get that razor sharp? Or would you like to try and mix things up and then go back to your home base when you need it, your sort of A game as such?
That is a good question. So years ago, I had that mentality of like constantly learning stuff, new tricks, like a new program into the fight camp. Trying different things, and then obviously I moved from Greece to here, and I was seeing constantly that traditional Thai style. Oh, you've got to kick, you've got to clinch a lot and stuff like that. Get those points in. So I did get a bit stuck with that style, and obviously each fight camp I was sharpening the same tools, but only lately I've gone back to that old mentality of learning different things each fight camp. So yeah, it's only just changed.
Now, regards to like that constant sort of development in that sense, where do you find that point of reflection? Is it after a training session? Is it after a fight? Is it a certain point? Like, do you journal? Do you like, I don't know, do you make a note of your sort of progression, certain hiccups you make? How do you track your progression? I want to sort of get around to.
So a lot of people take videos. Obviously, I take a lot of videos in their training, and then I'll probably sit down after training with my dad or Scott, and I'll be like, oh, I haven't done this right, or we need to do this and stuff like that. So obviously we have a little meeting now and then after training, and yeah, we correct things, if that's what you mean.
Kind of. So you're sort of watching tape back and everything else. Do you watch your own fights back in much detail? Is it sort of okay, that was it, that's then and done, or is it more listen to their review?
Yeah, I do.
Like, how much do you
Yeah,
watch? Is it like a daily sort of thing?
Not a daily sort of thing, because then I see too many mistakes and I'm like, oh, why didn't you do that? Why didn't you? So it's not. I don't know. I don't think it's good watching them all the time. I'll probably watch it once after a fight, and then I'll be like, right, I've got to correct that, do that right, and stuff like that, and try and get it right next time. But yeah, watching your fights too many times is like, I don't know. It's probably not the best idea, but I do watch other fights. Obviously, I watch a lot of fights on YouTube and stuff like that, and try and do it in training. But yeah,
No,
I'm always learning, always like trying to learn different things on watching fights and stuff.
I mean, this is an interesting thing as well, because again, obviously watching the high level competition, potential opponents in your future is in general, really. Watching tape, did you ever feel a habit of, I don't know, not necessarily emulating styles, but again, picking up on certain things, like say watching another like John Haggett or someone like that, someone very specific, thing, okay, these sort of elbows, this sort of style, do you try and mimic things? Do you try and, okay, this is a potential opponent? Is it just, how you're saying with your dad, you're watching fights, you can have a bit of fun just recreationally. Do you
Yeah.
watch things with purpose as such? Or is it more just, okay, this is similar to my style, this is something I can work on? Is it all study based, or is it more just, okay, this is general feedback? Where do you like to, I don't know, you see what I'm getting from? It's a bit of a tricky one to ask.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Obviously, I do watch like fights like Jonathan Haggerty and stuff like that, but I try not copy a lot of people, if that's what you're trying to ask.
Kind of.
I try.
Go on.
Yeah, I try not copy a lot of fighters, because at the end of the day, me personally, I just want my own style. I want my own character, my own style. Obviously, I get little ideas and put them in, like a bit of Jonathan Haggerty, a bit of Liam Harrison, a bit of Dean James and stuff like that. Just collect every fighter and put them into one. But yeah, I try and get my own style, and yeah, that's been working throughout the year. So
I mean, this is kind of it. And again, it was more sort of watching with purpose, with intent to sort of learn certain things, pick holes. And I don't know, because again, it's a tricky one. Because again, this sort of sport in itself, you get a lot of certain traits. Obviously, like, I don't know if anyone else can make that sort of noise. Liam Harris does hitting pads, but I'm sure
yeah,
he
yeah,
can't be far off. And
yeah.
it's an interesting one in itself. So when it comes to your preparation yourself, how specific to your opponent is it? Because again, is it very much, okay, you're going to try and pick up on their idiosyncrasies? Is it a case of try and see things in their early days? Is it all purely you and whoever's there on the day, it's their
Yeah,
problem they've got to deal with?
yeah, we do come up with like a game plan. Obviously, I'll let my dad and Scott look at the videos and stuff like that, and then we try it on the pads and stuff. But we don't try and go too deep into game plans because what if that game plan goes wrong in the ring and stuff like that? What's plan B and what's plan C? So we do a lot of freestyle and stuff like that, but at the same time, yeah, we will go into game plans, but not too much.
Now, when it comes to game plans anyway, the pace of the fights anyway, because
Mm,
like it's me thinking, okay, I'm gonna do this, that, and the other, but it's all like lightning, like seeing the sort of fight, especially that kind of weight. Like, how specific are your
yeah.
plans, such in the sense of, is it okay when they throw certain strikes, it's follow up counters? Is it general footwork concepts, or is it more okay, make sure you're keeping things forward? Like, how detailed are these plans as such? Obviously, without going out too much detail.
They're quite detailed, but with experience, I think, like, because I've been fighting so many years now, I learn how to adapt with each fighter. So I'll go in there first round. Obviously, I'll keep the pressure on a bit, but not too much, and then see what they've got there. So that just comes with experience. Like, not a lot of guys can do that. Just figure out what they've got from the first round. Obviously, you learn that in Thai boxing a lot. It's a bit different in MMA. You can't really do that, but yeah, that's usually what I do. So I'll try and figure them out the first round, and then try and pick it up, and that's just with experience. So
Now, the nature of that sort of style, that's a very fight specific kind of way of doing things. Because obviously, if you're doing like sparring in the
mm,
gym, it's sort of round robin, you go with everyone, you sort of work it out. Is that something you've just picked up from your
yeah,
competition experience? Is it something you've just sort of intuitively picked up? Is it something that other people have done to you? That sort of thing.
just throughout the years, really. Yeah, just with like experience. Like even in sparring, I'll do it sometimes. Like let's say if I'm sparring with like a certain sparring partner, like the first round, obviously I won't go as hard as like the last rounds. So I'll try and figure them out first. And but like let's say if they start straight away from the first round and they come at me straight away and it's straight away pressure, I know I'll be ready for that too. So like it just comes with experience. Obviously I've been doing it for years, so the more fights you get, the more that comes.
Now, interestingly enough, again, you said that a few times now, so if you're fighting for years, you've got a lot of confidence in what you've done and what you've achieved so far. Now,
Mm.
how are you with having the same sort of, I don't know, the beginning of white belt mindset? Okay, this is, if I treat this like this is a brand new day in the office, this isn't something, I don't know. How do you remain coachable also having that experience? How do you remain, I don't know, being able to develop whilst also knowing your ability?
Mm. Well, you're always learning really in the sport. Like obviously, I do get confidence sometimes with my experience and stuff like that. But I always think, or I'll always look at fighters that like top fighters like Liam Harrison, John, like even those fighters, they're still learning. They're still willing to adapt to different styles. So I I'll probably pause there and then look at them and be like, yeah, actually, they're still willing to learn. Why would I just stop here? There's always different tricks in the fight game, not only in fighting, but like in different sports. So, like obviously in jiu-jitsu, I've been doing that for like 6 months now. And like, there's always different tricks into that game. You're constantly learning. So yeah, that's what I do sometimes. I just, stop right there and then look at those guys. Obviously, they're still learning. They're still doing different things, and then adapt to something new.
That's interesting the way you're sort of explaining this. Because again, the way I'm asking these questions is more to understand certain techniques, lack of a better choice of words, how you sort of deal with these certain scenarios. So it's more sort of, am I right to say like compartmentalization? So again, this is one thing. This is my competitive head. I know what I'm doing. Now this is my sort of
Yeah.
student head. The sense of, okay, this is time to sort of reflect, and okay, this is time to review certain things. But a little
Mm.
slide or drop of jiu-jitsu there. What's inspired that? Then just a bit of variety, a bit of fun. What's that?
So I think, well, the next step, like the next goal now for next year is trying to get a few MMA fights behind my belt. So from 2021, the main focus for me is MMA. I've kept that really quiet too. Obviously, I haven't been posting a lot on social media and stuff, but I think now for me is the right time to do that, to like start a new path in that. I've always had it at the back of my head. So obviously I've been doing Thai boxing for years, but I've always been watching UFC, been watching all these guys, making it big and stuff like that. And, obviously I want to make it big in Thai boxing, but there's only a certain big you can make it in Thai boxing, if you get what I mean. You'll be big, but you'll be big in that community, in the Thai boxing community. If you make it big in like MMA, like even Steve down the road will probably know you. He'll be like,
Good old
if
Steve.
you get what I mean. Yeah. So yeah, it's a different level, and it's always been at the back of my head, starting that. So yeah, see how it goes.
You're just trying to be perfect for one FC, like all round or whatever they need. You're just ready for action.
Yeah.
I mean, this is it as well. I saw a thing on your Instagram, like you're hitting a ground and pound bag with the MMA gloves. I was thinking maybe they're like the one FC, like pro gloves you're trying to work for. But yeah, so it's good to kind of mix. So regards of with that, then where are you going to do your MMA? Are you trying to just learn it individually, then put it together after the fact? Where's your, I don't know, plans with that sort of side of things?
I've been doing my jiu-jitsu with Steve. His name is. He's got a gym called Turbo Gym in Coventry, and
A
then
Turbot.
I've been getting a Turbo Gym. Yeah,
That's the
Turbo Gym.
Steve Turbot, isn't
Jiu-jitsu,
he? He runs it.
it's called. Yeah. Steve Turbo, and obviously I've been getting a few lads down to our gym, Linton, Aces, with obviously doing a bit of MMA sparring and stuff. And yeah, that's about it. I've been doing a few things, like a bit of wrestling too with James Dixon.
Big boy.
You know the name, yeah?
Yeah, he's on the podcast.
Yeah, big boy. Yeah. So he's been showing me a few tricks, which obviously he knows his stuff about MMA. And then obviously in our gym we've got a few up and coming lads like Brogan White. He's a pal from Leamington. He helped me like with MMA sparring and stuff, like when we need to mix it up. So yeah, it's good, man. Like I've had my own, like I said earlier, like sort of like my own team. So I've been going there, and just mixing it all up, really.
You didn't fancy BST down the road instead of going to Coventry? So it's a bit of a mission to get to Coventry.
I'll probably pop round.
I say it kind of makes sense. It's just a little bit nearer, but less of a commute.
Yeah.
Either way, so we've got quite a few like flyweights and bantamweights. I'm sure you'll find someone to train with.
Yeah.
But this is interesting. So regards of at that point, then is it because MMA? Because again, if you're talking about recognition, name, status, that kind of thing, would boxing not be a little bit more direct route in that sense? Because again, MMA in the same conversation, in the bubble you're in. Yes, Conor McGregor sort of breaks through in that kind of conversation, but again, that's even then. Like my mum doesn't know Conor McGregor. Like whoever, but everyone knows Anthony Joshua. That kind of conversation. Is it MMA variety? Is it just for the kicks as well? Why MMA opposed to boxing in that sense?
It's just the kicks too, man. Like, obviously, I don't want to take away my kicks, my elbows, my knees, and stuff like that. And I think MMA is actually getting there now. Like, I think it's getting to the same level as boxing. Obviously, not as much here, but in America, they're doing shows. It's like that when Canelo fought, what's his name? Kovalev, I think.
Kovalev.
I think they had to like pause the card because Masvidal and Diaz was fighting.
Really?
So it is definitely, yeah. I remember seeing that. So it is definitely getting there on the same level in America, but obviously it needs a bit more work here. But yeah, I think in a few years it will probably be there.
Well, definitely that's sort of the evolution as well. And like regards of so we take it back to the Thai box for the time being. So regards of your like competition mindset in this sense. So again, obviously the amount of experience you've had, what does your fight day look like for you? Are you very visualization based? Is it a case of, you've got a certain purpose with this sort of thing, you think the whole thing through? Are you quite composed? Are you a bag of nerves? Like, what does your fight day look like for you?
To be honest, mate, nowadays I'll just wake up, I'll have breakfast, I'll play a bit of PlayStation, I'll do a bit of shadow boxing in my room, and then that's it. It's fight time. Because that's the thing, I've been doing it for that long, it just feels normal now. Sometimes there'll be fights that I'll actually try and make myself nervous because I'm too chilled. And I'm like, why am I so relaxed? You know, this just doesn't feel right. So I'll be like, oh, what if he beats you tonight and stuff like that. So I'll put things in my mind, or you know, like I'll be honest now. Like let's say my last fight camp, I'll be doing stuff. I'll be doing everything right in the gym. But let's say outside the gym, I'll be doing a few things that weren't right, if you get what I mean, as an athlete. And I was just doing that to make myself a bit more nervous, if that makes sense.
So you were almost sabotaging yourself to feel guilty about something, to then have that sort of, oh shit, what if that comes back to bite me in the
Yeah,
ass? The Big Mac's
exactly.
gonna come
Yeah,
back and get you.
that's how, yeah, that's how bad it got. So
I mean, that's something in itself. Like, what you
mm,
plan, most importantly, what you playing on the PlayStation? You're a Warzone kind of guy, FIFA. What you saying? You're just playing UFC, just
bit
practicing.
bit UFC, bit of FIFA, bit of everything really.
Is it getting the zone? But it's interesting that
Yeah.
sort of level of composure. Like, do you not feel it even like the walkout, that kind of thing? Like, again, to get to the venue, anything like that? Is it just indifferent or?
At the walkout, yeah. So that's when it kicks in. Obviously, last minute it kick in a bit, but throughout the day, yeah, it's like I said, I'll be really chilled. So
Now, regards of like the fights themselves, because again, the event seems neither here nor there for you at this point. But regards
mm,
of motivation, and obviously you get like peaks and troughs, highs and lows. Again, you get the adrenaline as the high, and then the low, the come down. Do
yeah.
you stay even on your radar at that point, or are you more just the long term? Okay, one FC, UFC, KFC, whatever you want after the fact. Like, but again, like how much does the actual event like emotionally provoke you at that point? Do you really care that much if you win at that point? Is it like, okay, I just expected it? Is it more
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not
So
the event you're looking forward to going?
no, I definitely care about winning. Like who doesn't like everyone likes winning, man. Like that's always in my head. Like, and that's why I've been, I don't know, defeated for a few years now, because I just hate losing. But yeah, I don't know. I think that there's a difference. Obviously, I'm a competitor and I like winning and stuff like that. But at the same time, I don't know why I'm so chilled. But I don't know. It just it's just a weird one, because I've been doing it for that long. I will just get those days where I'm just before a fight, I'll be really chilled. It's weird.
It is interesting though the fact it wasn't I want to win, I don't want to lose, or that kind of competitive side of it. I mean,
Mm,
that is a huge thing as well. Not everyone needs to be motivated towards something. It's more like, yeah, I'm not gonna let that happen. Like, have you
yeah.
had a quite bad loss before? You sort of bit like rubbed you the wrong way as such? Is it like competitive rounds inspiring that sort of inspired that kind of, I don't know, attitude towards things?
Uh, yeah, it's just like obviously I've had a few bad losses. Like I put my last one was like 2015. I took a fight on 2 weeks' notice. Um, and yeah, I lost that, and I took it a bit, not in a bad way. Obviously, I started training more after that, but yeah, it's just like it's just how I am really. Like obviously, I like winning. I've grown up in a family that likes winning. So yeah, after that, I sort of like it's sort of like a kick in the ass, and I got back on track.
Now, the interesting thing about, I didn't quite clock this. Again, it's a fighting family, also a Greek family. So, regards to food and weight cutting, like, what's going on that side of things? Like,
Greek food's healthy, bro. It's all healthy.
yeah, there's a lot of it normally.
Oh, yeah. No, I try and find a balance. Like obviously, I do commit on my diets. I but when it comes to dieting and stuff like that, I'm serious. So yeah, obviously it is hard when I smell the Greek food
So
cooking,
the
but
coffee is lurking about.
yeah, but it's just one of those, man. You got to commit, don't you?
You got to prioritize certain things. I
Yeah.
mean, this is
But
interesting.
but
Go
when
on.
it's not fight camp, it's
Levels.
yeah,
This is it.
it's really bad.
Now, this is an important thing. So post fight, talk to me about the dinner when you get back. Is I take it it's not like, cheap takeaway. It's proper home cooked stuff. Like, talk to me what
Oh
the
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm like I said earlier, I'm very serious with my diet. So I'll come back because I've got a hard wake. I'll probably like eat 2 hours later, and then fuel up with carbs like rice and stuff like that. I won't go and have like a Greek pasta or something like that, or a gyros and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll just take my time with it. Have rice, It's a process, isn't it? So I've just got to follow the whole process with it.
that again, it's so disciplined and it's so everything else. I'm just thinking, okay, The off season. The off season's what I'm kind of getting at. So the weight cut is so hard in that sense. Is it like
Yeah,
before the fight, you had a bit of a Ricky hand, you blow it up between like fights a lot, or you?
yeah, man. The off season's like it's hard. Like obviously I do train off season, but with the food, because it's just everywhere. Like my mom's there, like cooking really nice food, and I'm like, yeah, all right, I'll have 2 plates. Or then I'll go to Greece, and that's the worst part. Like when I go to Greece, and I'm like having a €2 gyros like every night, or I'm having my grandma's food, and I'm going up like to 80 kilos, and I'm like, oh, what's going on, man?
Big boy.
But yeah, it's a struggle.
But this is kind of it. So regards to the actual last push with the weight cut, so you day before weigh-ins the same days?
So obviously in Thai boxing, it's day before.
Mm. So with regard to your side of things, then, do you do the standard sort of the MMA way of water load and then cut it all the night before? Or is it progressive, kind of like more boxer style of things, of progressively taking it down and a bit more aggressive
Yeah.
with the diet? What's your sort of approach with that side of things?
So my last fights have been at 63, so they've been like water loads and stuff like that, the old school way, unfortunately. So I'll do a water load, and then I'll have to do a few baths to get down to 63 kilos. But obviously, if I'm going to make a debut in MMA, I'm planning hopefully to do 66. But we'll see.
Same way as me. Love to see it.
Yeah,
Yeah, so if I don't get you, I like my legs. So,
but yeah, it's mainly for 63. It's like obviously water load and then cut down.
what weight do you walk at when you start water loading? Then are you like 70 something? Are you low 60s? How much do you do in water normally?
So before the water cut, it actually goes quite well. I'll be like 67, 68 around there. And then obviously I'll cut down to 63 on the week. But my last fight comes up. I've been doing long runs, so they really help a lot too if you want to get your weight down. So I'll do like a 10K once a week and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a bit of it is hard, man. It is hard. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, this is kind of the point though, because again, with the experience and also with the long form, like the cardio, the baths, everything else, when you're in that kind of state of, okay, I'm getting depleted, I'm getting tired, I'm getting, drained, what is
Yeah.
your sort of, I don't know, mental state at that point? Is it a case I'm just sort of David Goggins, sort of, cracking on with it? Is it a case of you listen to things to try and get to a certain point, reference points? What's your process for getting through those harder pushes?
In all honesty, it is hard to get used to. Like, I'm still not really used to it, even though I've been cutting weight for years. It is a really hard process. Like, I'm not gonna lie, but you sort of need to get into the zone, really. Like, even if you're in the bath, there's no point crying about it and like trying to get out. You just need to, I don't know, I usually just put some music on and like zone out, and forget that I'm suffering, this weight cut. But in trying to get used to it, I don't know. It's like it is a hard one. No matter how many years, you do the fight game, it is really hard to like get used to weight cuts.
Now, when it comes to the weight cut side of things and the refuel and everything else, are you
Mm.
one who needs that kind of, I don't know, that grit as such to really, okay, I've been through this. This guy has made me cut weight to fight him. I now need to put it on him as such. Because again, you're saying that obviously the fight day, you're not that nervous as such. But again, obviously after that kind of what you put yourself through, are you very much motivated whilst doing that to then not take it out as such? But again, that's sort of, okay, this is
Yeah,
what's gone into this camp. So I need to then, get a bit more out of it as such.
a bit. Yeah, just a bit. I do get that feeling like, oh yeah, you made me do this and stuff like that. But you can't really allow that to happen all the time because everything else goes out the window then, and then you're just focusing on battering this guy, and you'll probably get frustrated in the fight or do mistakes. So you just need to stay focused. Really, obviously, it does help a bit, but the
No,
game
that's an
plan's
interesting. Sorry, that's an interesting sort of point to go on to there. That sort of emotional, not investment, but understanding where to put it as such. Because again, you get people sort of mean mugging each other, shoving each other away, and that kind of stuff. But again, that kind of composure when you're fighting. Because again, when you're sparring with your mates, you don't fucking do that. So like,
yeah.
why is it different on fight day? Like, how are you with that kind of animosity as such? Do you have to create some sort of, okay, I need to put it on this guy, or is it a case of, okay, this is all business, this is all methodical? Where do you sit on that sort of scale between being methodical versus being, I don't know, bit of animosity, that sort of thing?
So what do you mean? Like if someone pushes me out the veins or stuff like that?
No.
Like
That,
if,
just
if they're
general,
strong.
the build up to the fight camp itself, the fight itself. That's all sort of the way you see your opponent versus the see you process. Do you try and always keep it separate? Do you try and keep it a bit sort of, you know, I don't know, a bit what's it?
Mm,
You know what I mean?
yeah, that's a hard question. I try and keep it the same, really. Like, you know, no matter how the fight camp's gone, or you know, if there's been any, I don't know, like with the weight cut and stuff like that, I just keep chilled, you know, before the fight and stuff like that, and stick to the same game plan. And you know, I usually don't let emotions hit me. You know, well, not usually, not at all. Like, you know, let's say if someone's talking shit and stuff like that, that doesn't affect me at all. Honestly, I'm as chilled as I am. At the same time, I'm focused on fight day, and that's it. You know.
And again, that's something that comes with maturity, especially when it comes to, you know, people saying things, this, that, and the other. Because again, you get there all the time. Oh, I'm going to smash this guy. And of course, he's going to say, everyone says that it's fight thing. Oh, what a surprise!
Yeah,
He's in the shape of his life. He said the best camp he's ever had. I've never heard that one before.
yeah,
What fucking surprise that is.
yeah. Classic. I hate when I see that, man.
Oh, it's the worst. That's the point.
I've seen it way too many times. And then you see the guy saying, I know it's annoying and I'm going to say it again, but this is the best. You know, oh.
What is the worst cliche you're guilty of when it comes to fighting stuff like that?
Oh.
Is it either
No,
time training going, what is it? What's your like fighter cliche?
I don't know. I always try and change it, man. I don't want to say, you know, obviously, sometimes I want to say, you know, this has been the best fight camp ever and stuff like that, but I've seen it so many times now. You know, huh?
You don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, I don't want to be that guy, man. Like,
This is kind of, you got to be you. Now, take a quick break to chat about our sponsors. Have you got any sponsors you want to shout out?
Yeah, so obviously I've got a really good sponsor team behind me. I want to shout out Pure Phyto CBD, one of the best CBDs in business. And that's not biased. It's really good CBD. King Tape, really good tape, obviously before fights and stuff like that. Meg Sports Therapy, really good physio. She helps me out with fight camps and stuff, gives me free massages and stuff. PRP supplements and Revgear, really good. Obviously they do really good fight gear and stuff, gloves, shirt, shorts, everything, shin pads. So yeah, just want to thank those guys.
Sure, check them out.
Always behind me.
Check out the podcast sponsor. We've got the English Hypnotist. Again, the mental side of everything, whether it's fighting and business, everything like that. Take to the next level. Rieco Clothing, a variety of clothes, always expanding their ranges. People check them out. Pod 10 at checkout, and the People's IT for your IT and website needs. But yeah, it's an interesting one in itself. The variety of sponsors you got there and how they can support you in that sense. Because again, when it comes to, you see a lot of people on social media saying they're trying to get sponsors. They're trying to, like, you know, beg people for free stuff, and they're also trying to get people to work with that sort of transition of things. Regards of sponsorship and your side of things from that side of the fight world, how does that come about? Is it something you go out proactively to get these people who've reached out to you? Is this something that's happened organically? Where's this sort of, how these things come about?
Yeah, well, I've been lucky. So obviously each sponsor, they contacted me, except I think it was Revgear that I had to contact because I tried on their gloves once and I was like, yeah, these are really good. So apart from that, all the other ones, yeah, they contacted me, and you know, I'm really lucky because yeah, like you said, obviously nowadays you see a lot of fighters looking for sponsors online and stuff, you know, promoting themselves on Instagram and Facebook, saying, oh yeah, if anyone wants to sponsor me, you know, I would really appreciate it. So yeah, luckily they contacted me, and for what, it's been five fights now, they've been supporting me. So yeah, I'm a lucky man.
Definitely. Again, it's good to be appreciative of people's services again. And obviously it's a mutual thing. You guys work together trying to build and expand your career and obviously grow their businesses. Yeah. Now, regards of the way your camps have changed, you've developed as a fighter, are there things that you've added or taken away that have really made a big difference in regards of the way your camps seem to go, like regards of the physio and massages, that kind of thing? Is it something that's really made a significant difference in the way your recovery's gone as such?
Yeah. So the physio, 100%, like I try and get it once a week, and yeah, that helps a lot, man. Like, especially at the end of the week, obviously, if you're training twice a day, you know, it is going to catch up with you. So, yeah, that does help a lot. Obviously, the supplements, they help, and that they're free. That's even more helpful because, you know, a fight camp's not cheap. And the same with the CBD. Obviously, at night, if I can't sleep, I'll have a few drops of that. That will sort me out. Yeah, so each one of them, you know, they do help me out throughout a fight camp, and you know, fight camp's hard. Even a few of them help me out economically. So it all adds up. So yeah, I am lucky. I'm a lucky guy. I've got all the sponsors.
Now, this is an interesting thing as well, regards of what you've touched on there, regards to your recovery and your sleep and seeing train that sort of intensity, that frequency. And again, this is living and breathing it. Now, recovery, this is a
Yeah.
huge thing. So with Thai boxing, unlike some other sort of sports, there's times where you can coast, sometimes where you can sort of get your breath back. Thai boxing ain't one of them. It's just constant,
Yeah.
constant.
It
How
is. Yeah,
how
it
do
is.
you stay like, I don't know, in one piece for lack of a better choice of words? Do you do a lot of like, I don't know, certain warm up sort of things you've added in? Is it independent physio stuff on top of your massages? Is it like strength conditioning sort of things? Like how do you, I don't know, stay together as such? The tape probably.
Yeah, it's just the tape. Yeah. Um, keeping on. So what do you mean, like keeping on onto every fight camp? How do I do it?
Just sort of remaining sort of injury free, and again the wear and tear you take from just general training, hitting pads and holding
Yeah,
pads as well, because that's one of those things that pick up silly injuries from just beginners, sort of
yeah,
kicking your elbows and that.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is a hard one. I think throughout the years, I've learned how to just go with it. If you get what I mean, just as a program, like it's just been a program in my life, and I've just got used to it at this point. So like, let's say if it's a little injury, obviously if it's a big injury, I'll treat it straight away and get it looked up and stuff with my physio. But if it's a little injury, I'll just move on with it. Or, you know, if my legs are a bit tired, I might just move on with it. But I think with the differences with MMA now is that you can't do that. Like, I think you need to, like, let's say if your legs are hurting, don't go on a run or don't do this. You know, in Thai boxing, because a lot of it's like really old school. Only just now, you know, they're changing the programs and stuff like that, and fight camps and finding different solutions. You know, yeah, it's like I said. I don't think you could really do that in MMA. So.
Well, this is the whole development of sport, and also that weird grey area between training smart, not necessarily hard, but also the other side of it is a snowflake era of, oh, I'm tired, I'm going to try and preserve myself. Actually, no,
Yeah,
you got more reps, and you've been a pussy. And this
yeah,
is like
exactly.
a
Yeah,
kind of like melting pot anyway. And also your skill
yeah,
development, because again, obviously, in the scale of MMA skills, your striking's up there, and obviously your grappling has to catch up, and
yeah.
then getting that time and playing catch up as such.
Mm.
Now, regards of the skill work side of things, there, like how split is your training now? Is it pure MMA full time camp at this point? Essentially, is it individual skills you're prioritizing? Where's your sort of, I don't know, where does that sit in your
Mm.
training?
So obviously now I'm not in fight camp, so I could mix it around. So there'd be weeks where I'll be doing like I'll be rolling 4 times a week, or you know there'll be some weeks where I'll be doing 2 Thai boxing, 2 MMA, and then 1 strength conditioning. Because that's the beauty for when you're not in fight camp. You don't really have a program, so you could just mix it about. So yeah, at the moment I'm just doing that, and it is working out really well actually. You know, just getting different ideas from each gym.
I mean, that's always the important thing of going in different areas. And this is why, when you said about having your dad as your coach, where does that sit regards of variety in that sense? Has it been a case of, I don't know, he's always saying about you can go where you want? Is it a case of, okay, on his guidance, or just sort of let you crack on what
Uh,
you want to do? Where does that sort of sit?
he would literally he'd literally tell me, you know, go wherever you want, and that, you know, I think that's why we've worked so well throughout the years, because he's willing. He's at the same time he's really old school when it comes to training. Like he'll make me do that run even if my legs are hurting, if you get what I mean.
Mm.
But he will tell me, you know, you should go and spar there, or you should go and grapple there. So he's always keen on learning different things, and I think that's a big part nowadays, because yeah, you still see it. Unfortunately, you know, you still see a lot of coaches saying, "Oh no, why should you go to that gym? You know, like why we not good enough and stuff like that." You know, you know, you're not leaving. All you're trying to do is just improve and see different things. And you know that's the only way forward. Like you even see it in UFC. You know, you see different guys. Like I was watching it earlier, that Cody Garbrandt.
Mm. The team
So
alpha male thing, yeah.
yeah. So he was like, obviously he's with Team Alpha Male, but at the same time he's training with this Mark Henry guy, I think,
Mm.
in New Jersey. So like he's mixing it up, and his last fight he looked amazing. So I think, you know, that's the solution nowadays. Always learning different stuff, training with different people. Obviously keep loyal to your team, but yeah, you know, there's no shame in traveling and training at different gyms.
Well, this is where the honesty and the communication is so important at that point. Because again, you're having these conversations that you want to go to these places. You're not sneaking off. I think this is
Yeah,
where the whole conversations. That's the rest of the story you don't hear. Oh no, they're just no snakes. They want to keep you there. Maybe you just snuck off and
yeah,
try to say this, that, and the other because you get a bit of
yeah,
that. It gets a bit sort of.
yeah,
It's one of
yeah,
those
yeah.
things.
You do get that. Obviously, you do need to, let them know. You can't just like go there and stuff like that. But
You said the team
yeah,
picture at the back.
which a lot of guys do that, which is not obviously that's not good, because you're not showing respect towards your coach and stuff. But yeah, it is good letting them know. It is good.
Now, a few more things. I'll let you enjoy your evening. When it
Mm,
comes to sort of sparring out of house, do you
mm,
have general rules of thumb? Because again, it's a new. As much as you're going there for your development, you don't know how certain
yeah,
gyms spar. Some might go a bit sort of touch and flow. Some goes like pretty much a fight without getting paid for it. Like,
yeah.
what's your general rule of thumb for sparring with new people?
Um, Obviously, I'm going there with the intention to learn and try and prove myself. But if they're going to go hard, then like I'm always in for a war. So
This is kind
it's
of
one of
it.
those. If you go hard, then I'm not just going to sit there. Obviously, I've got a reputation for myself. I'm not just going to sit there and get battered or fight on the back foot.
Well, this is kind of the point
So
as well. And this is where this conversation, this question really came from, a sense of okay, if you're there to try and test yourself, you're against different bodies, different styles. Are you
mm,
waiting to see the power they give you and give it back? Are you trying to implement certain techniques? Is it you got a tick list? Okay, I want to try and do this sweep, this setup, this, that, and the other. Or is it okay, feel it out, try and win the rounds? Where's your sort of head in that side
yeah,
of things?
a bit of everything really. Like so, obviously, like I said earlier, the first rounds I was trying to feel them out and stuff, and then try and work on the things that I do, like on the pads and stuff with my coaches at that actual moment. Because obviously, if you're doing it with the same sparring partner every day, it's not easy, but you know what they can do. He knows what you can do. So if you're doing it to a different sparring partner, I think it's harder to pull off. So obviously, at that moment, I think the best thing to do when you're sparring with someone different is try and use all your techniques, all the techniques that you've been using in fight camp and stuff, and yeah, do it with different sparring partners. So
That's
that's what I aim for mainly. Uh, Obviously, feeling them out in the beginning, and then using different techniques. Try and use everything really. And obviously, if they go hard, then fucking hell, it is what it is.
get comfy. This is it.
Yeah,
Now,
hold tight.
with the same question then for MMA then. So obviously your background
Yeah,
being the striking, would you
yeah,
try and go in knowing, okay, I could keep it standing and proactively try and keep it standing, or are you going to go in with a more of an attitude of, okay, I'm going to try and take them down, try and build on that sort of specific skill set, or you're going to try and
yeah,
build the skill set of avoiding the takedown and staying on your feet? Where does your head sit with that?
yeah. That is a good question too, because obviously a lot of people. So when I spar with a lot of MMA fighters, I think they straight away think, oh, he's just going to keep this standing and stuff like that. But obviously lately, because I've been doing a lot of wrestling, a bit of jiu-jitsu and stuff, I'm actually willing to take it to the ground. So it's a weird one. Obviously I'll start with stand-up and mix it up and use a lot more stand-up, but I'll sneak in a little takedown and they'll be confused. Obviously they won't expect that, which is good. And yeah, that's what you really need to do in sparring really. Like even if that's your weakness, like let's say at the moment my groundwork is my weakness, I'm still going to use it because like that's the only way you can improve. Like if you've got a weak jab, there's no point not using it at all in sparring, because if you don't use it in sparring, when are you going to use it? Do you get what I mean? So that's what I try and focus on mainly, is using especially now in MMA, is using my weaknesses in sparring, and then when it comes to fight night, it won't be as bad.
Well, this is where this question sort of comes from a full circle at this point, is being able to be vulnerable with your name and with your status. You've achieved that. Okay, I am
Mm,
prepared to then go in the deep end as such with something I'm not overly comfortable at, something I'm not known for as such, and be prepared
yeah,
to make these mistakes, be prepared to be this vulnerable situation in order to
yeah,
then, learn. It's a very important thing to have. It's very respectful sort of a sense of
yeah.
humility, the sense of, okay, I'm prepared to lose. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You shouldn't be, because a lot of, especially nowadays, you get a lot of guys with high ego and stuff like that. Even top level guys, and they go in the gym and they've got to win a sparring round, or they've got to tap that guy out and stuff like that. There's no shame. Like I get tapped out all the time. But I'm only learning. I don't care about getting tapped out. I'm not gonna like smack the floor or go crazy at the guy. You know, I'm just going to move on with it and, you know, try and improve. Like, why did I tap out there? Like, why did I get into that choke? You know, there's literally too many guys now, and that's for the obviously up and coming guys, like guys younger than me. You shouldn't be afraid to fail in training. You know, it's only going to improve you. You know, you shouldn't be afraid to, I don't know, tap or I don't know, take a step back in sparring or tell them, oh, chill out for a bit, mate, or something like that. You know, you shouldn't be afraid to fail in training, because it's only going to make you better. Training is for learning, you know. So,
I mean, that's certainly important, especially from someone again who's competed at different levels, again, in different areas, and sort of the point is it's the branding as such. Again, failing, losing, tapping, these aren't bad things. These aren't the same things anyway. It's trial and error.
It's part of the game. It's part of the game.
This is it. I've got a couple of questions from Instagram just to sort of finish up on.
Okay.
Let's have a quick look here. Yeah, I've really enjoyed this so far, mate. It's been a really interesting conversation.
Yeah, it's been good, man.
Let me just get things up now. Okay, so we have, what's it like having Scott Robinson in your corner? Did you ever train with his brother?
So, unfortunately, no, I didn't train with Liam. But, yeah, like I said earlier, Scott's like a second dad, man. So we don't have only a relationship in the gym, but we've got it outside. And, yeah, he's helped me improve a lot throughout the journey. When I moved here, I had a lot of holes in my game, which I learned quickly from him. So, yes, it's a pleasure having him in my corner.
And how much is your dad? He said, how much is his dad influenced his career? But he's put dad, then he put Sam in brackets in case you didn't know who it was. The other dad.
I've only got one dad, peeps, just to let you know.
FYI, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Podcast exclusive.
Yeah. What was that question again? Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
I was just like listening to that.
How much has your dad influenced your career?
Oh, a lot, 100%. He was the one that got me into this sport. So obviously he had a gym in Greece, which was one of the best gyms in Greece, without being biased. And yeah, I was always there because my mum had a 9 till 5 job, and obviously no one had time to look after me. So I was always there. He was the one that got me into it. So without him, I don't even know where I'd be right now.
Now, what is your goal? I don't know what that sort of stems to. I'm going to just say in general, have you got certain like stage goals, like a next one and the overall big goal? What would you say is your goal?
To be the best in the world. Not only, you know, in lost you, but yeah, to be the best in the world, man. Like not only in Thai boxing, but like I said, I'm starting MMA next year, and I truly believe that I could get to the big leagues, the big leagues. And I'm saying, like, you know, I always say this to people, and I've always had this vision since I've been young. And I'll say it to people nowadays, and they laugh at me. But they won't laugh at me, but you know, I see it in their eyes that they're doubting me. And I honestly think that one day I'll make that UFC walkout and not only be in the UFC, but be the first Greek champion to be in the UFC. So that's my goal. And you know, at the end of the day, in this game, you shouldn't care what other people think. You should just care what you think. And yeah, just visualize it. And that's my goal. Obviously, I've got other goals too, like be a world champion in Thai boxing, kickboxing, stuff like that. But overall, be the greatest and get that UFC title.
Before we want to move on to the next question, I think that's a really interesting point and a very powerful point, that having confidence in your beliefs and not even just like sort of delusional, sort of, you know, blind following, sort of, okay, I sincerely believe this is something I could genuinely work for. Because again, this isn't coming from someone just off the street who hasn't trained before. This is someone who's committed and succeeded and, you know, gotten to a level in a sport, in a combat sport. Like, it's not exactly like it's worlds apart. Like, for anyone who's laughing at that, I don't know what they're laughing at. It's one of them.
Yeah. No, not. Yeah. Not laughing. Like,
yeah, you know what I mean. I was sort of disregarding it essentially.
Yeah. It's just like, you know, when you see people doubting you and stuff like that, you know, you tell them that, and you know, a lot of people nowadays, they see imagination in a very negative way, and at the end of the day, imagination is where it got me to this spot today. You know, just using imagination, just, I don't know, going on a run and thinking that and thinking this. And yeah, I think that's the problem nowadays in our society. You know, you tell people this, you tell people that, and they'd be like, oh, what's he on about? Like, he's not going to get into the UFC. Or like, even like, I don't know, a young up and coming football player. Oh, one day I'm going to play with Chelsea, and he says it to like his mate, and he's like, oh, fuck off, mate. Like, you're delusional. You know, and I think that's the thing nowadays, especially in this country, is a lot of people see imagination in the wrong way.
Again, I think it's a lot of it's the branding as well, imagination, visualization, that kind of understanding of what it means. Again, your thing is
Yeah.
you're working towards that goal. I think that's the biggest difference. I think it comes from people who aren't doing it, and also
Yeah.
their own insecurities being reflected on this. Because again, what's the response they expect from that? I said, "Oh shit, you're right. Yeah, I'll go in the office. I do 9 to 5."
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
me. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, next
But,
question. Here we go. What's what? That was poorly worded. What's needed? Well, what does a talented, hardworking fighter need to get sponsored? In brackets, go to Thailand. So, in the sense of either get a sponsorship in Thailand as such, like I don't really know what that question means. In the sense of how to get sponsored, I think is what he's getting at.
how to get a sponsor in Thailand?
I think how to get sponsored in brackets, then go to Thailand. I think sponsored to go to Thailand, essentially.
So, every time I've gone to Thailand, this was like the last time I went was 2 years ago. I had to pay out of my own pocket, so I didn't have sponsors back then. And
Thank you, George.
to get to get a sponsorship out there, obviously you need to show to them, you need to show to the gym that you're keen. So you need to come, turn up for training every morning. You need to just be willing to, like, I don't know, be willing to win and to, like, just be keen in general. So I think that's the key, because like once you get lazy and stuff like that, they start doubting you and stuff, and they're just gonna say, oh, why should we pay for you to stay here and stuff. So I think it's just putting that work in and be willing to fight. So if they offer you a fight, just be like, yeah, why not? I'll hop in and stuff like that. As for sponsors from here now, just don't be shy to, like, ask. Obviously, on social media, you get a lot of fighters promoting it. So can you please sponsor me and stuff like that? Just don't be shy to ask and put that work in.
And I should not get. When will you fight
Exactly.
when will you fight in Greece again?
When will I fight in Greece again? I don't know, man. Honestly, no idea. Hopefully, after all this COVID's over, they'll probably offer me a fight there. But at the moment, my main focus is here.
And on that topic, the follow-up question, same person actually, is when is your MMA debut? So on topic of training MMA consistently, when?
Yeah.
You've got a rough sort of, you said 2021. Is this like early? Is this, because obviously it's December now, so.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep that quiet for now. I'm gonna keep that quiet, but yeah, we're working.
Oh, cliffhangers, love to see it. Now, last one. Is there any talks of a rematch with Craig?
With Craig? No, but I would actually like that rematch, because, like I said before, for that fight camp, I did everything right in the gym, but everything outside the gym, I did it wrong. And I'm not making excuses. Obviously, I'm generally not that guy that makes excuses after fights, and I've had a lot of injuries and stuff like that. And I know I won that fight, but I know I could have performed much better in that fight. If he wants to do it in MMA, let's do it in MMA. That'll be even more interesting. But at the moment, there's no talks for a rematch.
Soon come. George, thank you for your time, my friend. Social media, where can people find you?
No worries, man. So George_MZKITIS, making that Mouzakitis shorter. And just Facebook, George Mouzakitis.
Awesome. That will be in the description.